Hey everybody, it's Crash Diz again, leader of the Alliance We Have Fun. Today we want to talk a little bit about attack team selection. So one of the things that we really promote within our Alliance for war, raids, and even fighting the monsters on the boards and the seasons is using the appropriate collar stacking. Now, as you get more advanced rosters, build your rosters up, get better leveled heroes, you get a better selection to choose from for effects and things like that. But initially, when you're getting into the game, you're about the mid levels, the 3-2-1 strategy gives you the ability to significantly do some damage to the teams that you're going against, even when they're higher power, significantly higher power team than what you have the ability to create. So the concept of the 3-2-1 is using 3 of the strong collar, 2 of the secondary collar against a flank, 3 of the strong collar against the tank. And 1 of your 5 should be a healer. So I'm going to talk a little bit about 3-2-1. I'm also going to address some different combinations that may not necessarily follow the 3-2 numbers, but we'll get into this a little bit more in depth and explain the reasoning behind it. So bear in mind that your objective is to make 1 or 2 big heroes out of your 5. And when I say that, what I'm saying is if you use 3 reds against a green tank, you are in effect making each attack with red tiles the combination of those 3 together, making them one big hit. So we'll go ahead and pull up some teams here in the raids. I'm not actually going to do any fights today. I'm just going to talk about how I would go about selecting my teams based on either attack or based on what their effects are, depending on what we're facing. So we'll go ahead and get into it now. This team here, looking at it, one of the first things I see is we've got 2 dark heroes on their roster, but their tank is nature. So when I'm assessing this, I'm looking and saying, okay, what are my greatest threats? One of the first things I notice is that their snipers are on the wings, the yellow and the blue. That'd be Magni and June. I'm going to have very limited ability to hit them until I clear out the middle. So my primary focus in my team building is going to be focused on those 3 in the middle, the tank and both of the flanks, which are Rigard and Quintus. Now, the fact that they're both dark would lead me to think, okay, this is an ideal scenario for a 3-2 attack. I'll use 3 red, and I'll set up with 2 yellow for the secondary collar. And whenever I'm developing this, a lot of times when I'm looking at 3-2, I go, okay, one of my 2 of the off collar, the second collar, is going to be my healer. In this situation, I've got a pretty strong red healer that adds a boost to my attack. That's Bold Tusk. I'm going to include him in my 3 red, and then I'll go for something with some damage over time, and maybe Zemkitha because she's a fast mana. You're going to have the possibility of not getting as many red tiles up for getting your specials going, so it's nice to be able to double up on that mana stacking for getting that boost, that attack boost going. Something I'm going to look at for my yellows is going to be, yellows are really good for mana reduction or for attacks involving accuracy. Like I said, looking at these guys on the wings, I'm not too concerned about them. My primary focus is going to be here on the middle. My yellows, I'll probably go more for the attack stats that they have. So we'll go ahead and pull up my roster here. We're going to clear those blues out. I've been doing some single collar stacking stuff and having a lot of success with it, but you really have to have 5 solid heroes to single collar stack. So for this scenario, like I said, we've got a real good setup for a 3-2. We'll go ahead and place Aslars and Kitha and Bold Tusk there in the middle. The tank in attacks, it doesn't really have a significant effect because the computer's going to play willy-nilly anyways. I just try to stay consistent with putting my tank as my tankiest hero of the three. So now that I've got them in play, one of the things I will say is if there is an enemy that I'm going against that is going to specifically target the element that I'm putting in the middle, I'm not going to put those three together. I'm going to split them up and put my yellows in the flank position, just so that they can't have that attack that affects the target and nearby enemies doing damage specifically to red right there together. So like I said, I'm going to go for my attack stats. I'm going to look at what I got here. You know, I've got Justice, 580 attack. We'll go down, see here, KO, 554. Onatel's 537. Leonidas, he's a 596. Okay, so I would think I want Leonidas, and I know Wukong's got a 600 stat for attack. Yeah, 629. So I'm going to go ahead and plug him in too. Wukong gives me that added boost if I choose to use him. Like I said, for the yellows here, not going so much for their effect, going more for their attack stat. I want to be able to hit those purples hard whenever I send yellow tiles at them. Excuse me. So, and having Wu there does give me the option that if I really need to kill a guy and I've got some good tile setups ready in place, I can get those critical hits in. So this is basically what we're looking at whenever we're doing the 3-2. The 3 strong against the tank. We want to kill that tank. We want to take out that center spot. It opens us up for better hits on our flanks, which then leads us into our guys on the wings. With this setup, having the yellow, this team that we're going against is an ideal scenario. Usually they're going to split them up so that you're going to have 3 different colors in the front row, and you just have to pick which would be the most dangerous. So Quintus would be the one that I would target if Regard was not Regard and was a different color. So we'll go ahead and swap here. We'll pull up another team. Here we have Delilah and Drake Fong right there together. Another ideal scenario. This one actually, I feel pretty strong that a full purple team would be a great attack here. Again, that's roster dependent, whether or not you have the heroes to be able to do that. Having those 2 yellows together, I'm going to create a pretty significant hole there. Then I can wear out Illusia as quickly as possible, and it clears that one side of the board for me. So, looking here, you know, we got Demisha. Excuse me. This is a team I already had set up in place. But you don't want Demisha sitting on a wing. You want her in a flank position. That's her best ability, is where she can give protection to the 2 heroes side by side with her. That's her effect. So effects are going to come into play whenever I'm looking at a single color team. What can they do for me? KG break strikes, takes out their boosters. Regard and Kunch both purify. Drop shields for Kunch. Sartana's got that damage over time. You also want to remember to look at your troops. Make sure that you're getting the right mana production, getting the right attack stat boosting with your troops. Not going to go into troops too much here. Troops is a whole nother ball game. So yeah, basically that's the team that I would take against them. My intent is to take out that tank, take out Drake, hopefully do it both at the same time. Usually you can do this with a 3-tile hit on a yellow tank with a 5-color purple. This is also what I would use against Guinevere. Occasionally against Vivica, depending on what the rest of her team looks like. So, using that setup, that's a single color stack. Does not necessarily fall in line with 3-2-1, but you also see I have 2 healers here. That gives me the benefit of healing at a quicker rate, as well as having Kunch follow in behind. So, moving on to another team here. So here we are with another rainbow team that we're going against. We've got Kiona as the tank. I'm not too nervous about Kiona. She's a decent hero for me in attacking. She doesn't really pose a significant threat, or hasn't in the past. So, looking at this, you want to take into account, how fast is the tank. If the tank isn't your biggest threat, what is your biggest threat? For me, in this situation, it's more of Elena than it is Kiona. You see, Kiona's an average mana build. She does have pretty decent attack stats. She's got a decent health. She's just not a significant threat to me. So if I'm going to build a tank against this team, or build a 3-2-1 setup against this team, against that tank, I'm probably going to shy away from actually targeting her significantly. I'm going to look more for taking out Elena. Now what I can do is I can choose to complement my blue team with yellow, or I can go with a primarily blue team against them and just hope to overcome Kiona fairly quickly with the amount of exposure she has. But again, here you see me going with Wu, with Leo. That gives me the extra hit against Kiona that's stronger. It gives me the mana reduction, but it also gives me that stronger attack against Elena. And with my shield breakers, I'm improving and increasing my damage dealt with each set of tiles that are yellow and blue that I'm sending up. So everything about this team is geared for increasing the amount of damage. I want to kill Elena quickly. I don't want her to fire off. So this would be a team that I would build specifically designed towards Elena. Now, one of the things that team is lacking is the Dispeller, which I believe Frida does have the ability to dispel what she hits in the nearby enemies. So I could use her to at least clean up a little bit of that. I'm not sure if I'm confusing Frida with Evelyn right now, but anyways. So we'll swap to another team. And here you see Elena's the tank. This one, now there are 2 yellows, and I could clear that side of the board fairly easy if I get the right tiles and I switch up and maybe, let's see here. Throw in some, let's throw in some purple. We'll throw in Kunch and Sartana. Huge stack on shield breaking here. Very effective against this type of setup. This would be excellent because I have a healer, I have all kinds of shield breakers, I've got element specific shield breakers, and I've got damage over time. Additionally, I could use Regard if I wanted to have that a little bit faster. Because of the shield breakers I already have, I don't necessarily need Kunch. I don't need to wait longer. So that would be a good setup for using against this. Again, using my 3 blue against Elena, I want to kill her fairly quickly. I've got my purple as my complement, so I can clear that side of the board. And at that point in time, I'm ghosting tiles, building mana. Now, like I said, additionally, I could also go with an all-blue team. This gives me a Dispeller, so that if she does fire off and gets that counter-strike going, I can kill that counter-strike. And I'll hold Sonya back to do that. I still got my boosting from Kirill. I've got my heals from Kirill. I've got shield breaking from Grimm and Isarnia, and I've got element-specific shield breaking from Frida. So, assuming that the computer graces me with a good board with some blues, even if they don't, I've got a little bit of time if I make smart matches and spread it out, focusing on the ones that are not going to do the most damage in their attacks to me, trying to avoid Elena, which is tough to do when she's in the tank, which is probably why they put her there. So this would be another setup that I would use against that team. You kind of got to play around with it, get a feel for it, get a feel for what your heroes do, and look for the effects that complement each other. Let's move on to another team here. Alright, so we've got Vivica as the tank. We've got Zemi, Isarnia, Demisha, and Liana. Okay, I'll tell you right now, Liana's a heck of a sniper. She's not my threat here, and Demisha is not the hardest hitter. This one I feel like is a good scenario for a 3-2. Coming in, setting up with the 3 purple, and then Going back and looking at it, it's either Isarni or Zemi. Who's the greater threat to me in this situation? I know what shield breakers do. I know what boosters do. To me, when I think about who's the threat on this team, for me it's Isarnia. Isarnia is very high attack, very hard hitting with the shield breaking because she gets everyone else hitting you harder. But the good thing about her is she's got that real low defense stat and that smaller hit point number there. And I like the fact that I can kill her. So my second color, my complement color, is going to be green here. I am going to target Vivica with the 3 purple, but then I'm going to bring 2 greens in, and I want them to be fast hitters. I want them to be snipers like Caedmon here. Caedmon's an excellent sniper. He's not my highest attack stat, he's not my highest health stat, but he's great for complementing Evelynn because they're both fast. They both light up at the same time with the same tiles used. So as soon as I cycle her, I can break shields against nature, and then I can pick which one of those 3 I really want to do damage to. And in this case, it will be Isarnia. She's going to be my target. And the added benefit is that I'll break the shields on Vivica in the process. So that's the kind of setup that I would use against this team. Vivica's the tank. She's got the 3 purple against her. Isarnia is the biggest threat. The best part about this team is that their healer is also their tank. Sometimes you have to weigh who's the more threat, whether they're a healer or whether they're a flank. And you just work with that. So another complement that I could do here, instead of using the green, let's say let's say I wanted to go against Liana. This right here is something that I could do. And basically, the reason I would choose this is because of Bold Tusk increasing his stats. And bringing in Aslar gives that damage over time. So what that does for me is if I can get him to fire, it gives me the ability to continuously do damage while I'm trying to get to my next set of tiles. And that's something else to consider, having him along with Sartana there. So anyways, so that's a general concept of 3-2 and color stacking. Use it as you can. If you like this, like the video, subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll have more coming out as soon as I can. Have a good day.